Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there.
What are you doing?
Complimentary room service. Here is that.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Dads.
Yeah.
And today we are coming at you with another video that we watched. And so that's what this show's all about. I'm all over the place right now.
That's all right.
This is a half-hour chat show. If this is your first time watching, welcome. Like I said, this is a half-hour chat show where we discuss a movie that we watched. And if this is not your first time watching, welcome back. You can find all of our information about our show and where you can find anything about us if you're also listening to this as a podcast. And you can do that at thenewlydads.com for all of your Newly Dads needs. On that site, you're going to find information about the shows, and then you're also going to find information about our different blog posts and potentially like events that we're being part of. Mr. Newly Dad does a lot of reviews, and so he likes to share all of his opinions on all of the movies and things that he watches. He also does other YouTube videos, so you can check out that information. That should be you should be able to locate that there as well. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about a movie that we watched, which I have said now 3 or 4 times. And this week we watched Legacy of Evil. Yeah. Every week we like to review a movie, and we've got some criteria for that movie. So the first thing is it needs to be under $5. It needs to be a horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre type movie, and it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever watched before. So this is part of a 10-movie horror collection, and we still have a few more movies, I think, on this one to go.
Like 8 more, I think. We've seen one of them on there at least. Sure.
Yeah, yep. But we watched Legacy of Evil this week. Is it time to read the synopsis already? I know, I kind of feel like I flew right through that.
Nope, I think it's time.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Long day. All right, so I'm going to read the synopsis, and then we will move along on the show here. So, Legacy of Evil is a family man's personality drastically changes when he's overcome by the devil. But as he and his wife battle his possession, they learn that his plight is a dark family legacy. Yeah, that's pretty short.
Short synopsis because
it's a 10 movie horror thing, so they only have little bits to do it. So yeah, awesome. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to show a trailer. Is there a trailer for this? Did you find a trailer?
I haven't looked, but if not, we'll put something else there. So yeah, just pretend there's a trailer.
And I guess like the trailer is I'm just trying to think. I don't know, just like a car. Little like 1990s style car. I don't know.
1990s, okay.
With a couple of beep beeps in there.
Okay.
All right.
They would do.
All right. So we're going to cut to the trailer so you can watch it, and then we'll watch it with you, and then we'll come back, and we've got some words that we want to discuss about this fine film. We've got some thoughts. All right. So we'll be right back. All right. We are back, and we've got some thoughts, and Mr. Newly Dad took some notes.
I did. Mm-hmm. So whenever we watch a movie, I will take notes digitally, print them out, and then at the end of the year, Mrs. Newly Dad will put them into a flip book on our website that we mentioned previously. So you can go there and check out 2023 and 2024's notes. They are available now. So if you want to get a glimpse behind the curtain, as it were, you can find out, what we thought, things about the movies, drawings that I've done, etc., etc. And Mrs. Newly Dad also this year has made a commitment to do the same. And so far, she is at 100%.
I am.
Yes. So despite if she falls asleep or not, or if, whatever else happens, there's always some notes from both of us to help kind of guide the show, give us a little direction. Now, at this point, I'm going to show her what I've drawn on mine, then she's going to show me what's on hers, and then we'll get on with the things. So,
All right, you drew a little devil and a sign that says poo poo. Gale Satan.
we'll get to that.
Stephen Lang starter kit. This is. What's
This
that
is demonic.
Demonic. Oh.
Because we've seen Don't Breathe, you know about the turkey baster.
It's a turkey
so
baster.
The Stephen Lang starter kit is a turkey baster, and based on the movie, I'm making a play on words.
And
This
he
is
wrote
demonic.
them FX.
Them FX, yeah, they was killer.
I drew a bee.
You did draw a bee.
Yeah, and a thing that says Legacy of Evil, the possession of Michael D. Because I kept
AKA.
talking about that. I also wrote made for television. I drew a little television screen, and
Yeah.
I just drew some weird little random little
Little
orbs.
shady dot things.
Yeah.
So the reason she said that is this has two titles. This is a made-for-TV movie from 1995, currently sitting at 5.1 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database, so it's known as Legacy of Evil. It is also known as The Possession of Michael D., which the main character's name is Michael D. So this is directed by Michael Kennedy, who did a film called One Man Out, Talons of the Eagle, which is on the shelf over there, Red Scorpion 2, the sequel to the Dolph Lundgren classic, ? And he did some Kids in the Hall and some Xmas movies. So he did a lot of Christmas movies. I didn't want to write them all down, but if you go look at his Internet Movie Database profile, you will see a poop ton of Christmas films by Michael Kennedy. So this is all, written by Richard Parker, who did Gargantua, which is definitely a movie we need to see at some point.
Mm-hmm.
The Garage Sale Mystery, which again sounds like another TV movie.
Sounds fun.
And something called Lies He Told, which also sounds like it could be in, like a not Showtime, like Oxygen kind of thing. So this stars one Felicia Rashad in a very, very small role, like blink and you miss her. But you may know her from all the Cosby stuff. She was, most recently, she's been in the Creed franchise. So the spinoff of the Rocky franchise. There's Creeds 1 through 3. She is in that. I believe she plays Michael Jordan's mother in those films. Either that or grandmother. I'm not sure which. But she was also in Tick, Tick, Boom. Not to be confused with the song, which is not by Papa Roach. It's by...
Yeah, it's Saliva.
We got into this conversation the other night, and I thought for some reason it was that band, and it was not. She was correct. And she was in 4 episodes of This Is Us.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which Mrs. Newlydad likes that show.
I did.
It is over now.
Mm-hmm.
This also stars Stephen Lang in a very, not early role. He's been acting for a long time, but most people know him, this generation know him from the Don't Breathe franchise. He was in parts 1 and 2 of that, the Turkey Baster, yeah. He was in VFW, the Joe Begos film, which if you're not familiar with Joe Begos and you're a genre film fan, why do you not know his films? He makes just super fun, like drive-in kind of wonderfulness. And VFW is on the shelf. It's fantastic. Killer App, which is just what you think it is. It's not about appetizers. It's about an app that kills people. And Fire Down Below, the Steven Seagal film, where he's saving the trees, I think, if I remember correctly, from an oil baron or something. I don't know. He's the good guy. But I think Stephen Lang is probably not the good guy. This also stars Sheila McCarthy, who was in Die Hard 2. She was the reporter, the blonde reporter that was trying to get John McClane to tell her what was going on at Dulles International Airport. She was in The Day After Tomorrow, the Jake Gyllenhaal disaster film, which both of those films so far are on the shelf. Heads up. She was in The Rats, which sounds like something we should probably see.
Yeah.
And then I thought this was funny. She was also in another film called I Was a Rat. Not a sequel, not a prequel, just another film that happened to have rat in the title that was like within like a few years of each other. So it was weird. And finally, Roger Rees, who you may remember, he did a run on Cheers as a regular for a while. He's an English actor. If you saw his face, you know him. I know as soon as Laura saw him, she's like, oh, I know that guy. And I'm like, yeah, it's Roger Rees. He was also in The Scorpion King, which has come up on this show recently a couple times.
Yeah.
Next Stop Wonderland, which is the Hope Davis 90s romantic comedy, dramedy sort of thing. I'm a Hope Davis fan. I don't know. She's not been in much lately, but she was big in the 90s. And I had to include this. He was also in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Nice.
The Sylvester Stallone, Estelle Getty
Funny.
cop comedy, which, whew, boy, that was a stinker. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it was a stinker. So anyway, at this point, my lovely wife turns to me and she says,
What did you think?
so let's just start off by saying again, this is made for TV. And
You can tell.
what happened to you during this film?
I fell asleep.
And to be fair, I was pretty close because this was,
Oh, it was pretty slow.
it was not great.
I always write down what time we start watching it and what time I started getting sleepy. So we started watching it around 8:40 ish.
Okay.
And I started getting sleepy at 9:25, and then I wrote a little line that says more at 9:45. So I must have like really tried to keep it together. And then, so yeah, I watched about an hour of it before I started doing like some nodding.
It was like an hour 45, I want to say, altogether
was
without
long.
commercials. It had commercial breaks still. You could tell where they go, but
We got baby, spare ribs, roast beef, hot links, and more to give. Cube steaks, hot dogs, real tips, ooh, pork chops, chicken wings, and chicken wings too. Give me a wave if you like catfish. Jump up if it's your favorite dish. Tommy likes ribs and chicken wings. If you like you, let me hear you scream. Wave for catfish. Scream for ribs. Ooh, and oink.
yeah, I looked over and you missed most of the third act.
Yeah.
But not that you missed much, but yeah. At the beginning, it says it's based on actual events, which just a little short bit of research found out that the director confirmed that it was not based on real events. It was just a story he came up with, and he just did that for effect. Good
Which is
job.
crappy.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I guess, Texas
Misleading.
Chainsaw Massacre does a similar thing, but they're loosely basing it on Ed
Ed
Gein,
Gein, right.
so maybe. So it's interesting because in the film, Michael D is with this woman, and he is they're in a relationship. They bought a house. They moved in together. He's going to marry her. They end up getting married very early on in the film, and she's got 2 kids. Now, typically when you watch a possession film, the only person who's seeing the entity that's possessing them is the person that's the possessee.
Mm.
In this film, everybody heard, everybody saw, and so it wasn't just him. Like, they're like, I didn't see anything. What are you talking about? They're like, oh, it was at the window. We should go outside and chase after it. It was like,
Yeah.
weird choice.
Right.
And you actually see the thing in the window yourself, and it's like, okay, interesting. You could definitely tell it was made for TV. When they got married, nobody came. It was just the 2 of them, the 2 kids, the minister or the officiant, and I think her parents.
There was
maybe?
like a couple people, yeah, standing like on that side. But yeah, that was pretty much it.
It was sad. Nobody came. There is a scene where there's a lamb, and for some reason the lamb grows horns like a demon, devil, something.
It's a stained glass.
Oh, right. They're in a church.
Yeah.
That's right. And like you see the stained glass. That's why I wrote them FX.
Things start breathing weird. The glass starts going like, ooh, and then like, yeah, the little like lamb that was like in one of the stained glass things like grows little horns.
And the glass is like rippling, and like they're doing all their best, high quality Apple effects back in the day or whatever. I don't know who did their effects, but
Yeah, he starts to get like weird eyes and like a pointy tongue, and his mouth does like that weird, like it's like bigger, and then like his, like stretchy
yeah, they
kind of, and like
that was a thing.
his, yeah, and then his voice gets really deep and he starts talking like a demon.
whatever. Yeah, it was, and the effects were. I mean, it was obviously a made for TV thing, as I mentioned. That's why I wrote them FX.
Except for he kills a puppy in it, which is freaking horrible.
You don't see the dog get actually deaded,
Yeah.
but
He's like, the dog ran out on the road and it died. And then so his wife went to go like find where he was at and found a pitchfork that had blood and fur on it. And she's like, are you sure the dog died in the road? And he's like, I don't know, and then basically he said that I don't really remember what happens. And then you kind of show up, like they show a flashback where he's got a pitchfork in his hand, and then he like looks down, and the puppy has turned into like some wolf.
Like a wolf or a coyote or something. Yeah.
And then so he to the wolf, and it was a really adorable little like cockapoo looking puppy.
And there was like blood all over, and that's what kind of made her think twice, because if you've ever had a dog that was hit by a car, there's not always blood.
And she's like, "Where's the body?" And he's like, "I buried it."
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were very suspect about it, and that's what kind of made her look into it more.
Why you gotta kill the puppy?
Yeah, we're I mean, that's like a big no-no in horror films, but it just, I guess, shows that there's stakes, so that they're not going to hurt the main characters. I don't know. They also had a weird thing with this film that everything kept catching on fire. I guess they're implying that it's a demon and hell and something, but it seems like it's like kind of on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where everything keeps exploding. Everything kept catching on fire. They also used the Dutch tilt a lot, which, if you're not familiar with the Dutch tilt, it's a cinematography term that basically it's used when something is disorienting or uneasy, and it's where the camera turns sideways and you're looking at the characters. And a lot of directors don't use it because it's kind of considered kind of cliched and kind of, it's been done, and they used it a lot in this. But then again, it was 1995, so
right.
Who knows? And there's early on, you start to kind of wonder, is he really possessed, or is he just really bad at marriage? Or is it something traumatic from his childhood, which we'll get to in a moment. I wrote at one point, "Where's Claire Huxtable?" Then she showed up. There's also the implication that this could be a metaphor for domestic violence. It's very confusing. And then eventually you realize that, yes, he is really possessed. And yet it still has to do with the fact that I don't think we're calling spoilers at all, but it turns out that, it's all because his father was abusive, and his father was theoretically possessed by something that then passed it on to him. So it's like,
yeah,
pick a lane, guys. Is this a metaphor, or is it really a possession thing? And it ends up being both, which is strange. And it reminded me of a recent episode of Kitchen Nightmares. It wasn't a recent episode, but it was one that we watched recently because my kid has become obsessed with Gordon Ramsay stuff, just like his dad. And so they were watching that episode, and we watched it with them. And it's the Burger Kitchen episode where the father wrote a book called My Sweet Satan. That's about his dad. And I just kept thinking that as we're watching the movie. I'm like, weird.
Yeah.
So this guy, Stephen Lang, could write a book called My Sweet Satan about his dad, and it would be true because his dad was actually the devil. Or at least a demon possessed something, which led us to a lot of jokes, including the Gail Satan thing.
Yeah, well, I said like Michael D, the D stands for demon. And then, yeah, he was calling his wife Gail Satan, which her name wasn't even Gail, it was like Jenny or something like that.
Yeah, but I kept going Gail Satan, which
Yeah.
I think it needs to be a character. So we have Pentagramma,
Oh,
Beelzebub, and now I think we need Gail Satan.
yep, I
Yeah.
agree.
So
I like that.
it's happening. And the reason I wrote poo poo is because this movie was poo poo. I don't care if it's a made-for-TV movie or not. If you've ever seen The Night Stalker, The Night Strangler, the Kolchak movies before the series started, they're great. There's a lot of really great made-for-TV movies out there. Matter of fact, a lot of boutique labels are putting out box sets of these films that are kind of just like a duel. It's a Steven Spielberg, one of his earliest films. It was made for TV, and it is just as good as anything that he made for the cinema. So saying that is not a guarantee that it's going to be bad. But in this case,
Yeah.
I don't know how this ended up being a thing, but it's a thing, and we watched it, and yeah. So
Yeah. I said puppy side, how dare they? Damn made for TV movie. I said the D stands for demon. I said bad CGI face, whippy tongue.
yeah,
And it's Mrs. Huxtable. And yep, it happened. I fell asleep.
it did. You did. And I can't remember. Did you wake up before the end or at the end?
I think I woke up at the end.
So did you see kind of what happened at the end and everything?
Mm-mm.
No. So just to kind of put a closure on this before we wrap it up, a priest comes and they're trying to get the demon, to figure out what's going on. And he realizes that it's his dad. And so his wife is like, go back, talk to your younger self and explain to them, what's going on so that this won't happen. And so he goes back somehow, talks to his younger self. His younger self tells his dad, to F off, basically. And his dad, doesn't pass along the demon to him. And then when they come back to the present, everything's fine, and he's no longer a bad husband. And
Dumb.
because when he got married before, when he's alone, it's fine. It doesn't happen. But when he's married, apparently it comes out because his dad was a bad person or something, or the demon just hates women. I don't know, but that's how they end up resolving it. And at the end, everybody's happy, and it's like, yay, the demon's gone. Good job, Michael D. It was not good.
No.
So we are not recommending this. If you're a sycophant or you just have you really hate yourself, feel free. But
So do you have a final thought?
I do. So my final thoughts for The Possession of Michael D / Legacy of Evil is it's made for TV, but didn't have to be.
Yep. And my final thought was, nope.
Just short, sweet, and to the point.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. So on a scale out of 5 demon sheep,
Demons?
demons,
Deeps? I don't know.
sheepins. What would you give it?
So the only reason I gave it what I did is just because we got a lot of jokes out of it. And I like Stephen Lang. I like all the people that were in it, but it was just everything about this was bad decisions in a box. So I gave it 0.25 out of 5.
I gave it a negative 666 out of 5.
I wondered if you were going to go 666. I didn't want to go that hardcore because I did that not that
Michael
long
D.
ago. And I had to give them a little bit of credit because he was trying. Like, I don't know. I feel like him and Sheila McCarthy were really trying to do something with the script they had. And and poor Felicia Rashad, she must have been hurting for money because she just was like, hi,
It's
blah,
gonna
blah,
be
blah.
A weird psychiatrist.
And she leaves. Literally, she was in the movie for 5 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
Probably got a bigger paycheck than the rest of them. So good on her. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. All
See,
right.
Can't blow it up. I'm sorry.
No, but if they don't want to watch this movie, what do you recommend?
Oh, right. So I was thinking about all the possession movies that have ever been made and all the ones that kind of leaned into this in some way. And there really aren't any that I could think of. So I went with one that was, for some reason, my brain made sense as a one to recommend. So I went with 2010's The Last Exorcism, which stars Ashley Bell and kind of introduced me to her and made me a fan. There's a sequel. Ignore the sequel. We've talked about this on the show before. I've not recommended it before, but it's on the shelf. And it's an exorcism movie where you're kind of not sure at first if she's really possessed or not. It's kind of a pseudo found footage sort of thing. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the sequel, not as much, but the first one is recommended.
All right.
So
I'm not going to blow it up like he said, but I am going to gently set it down over here.
because we'll get back to that eventually. We'll get to blow it up. And when we do,
It's going to be a epic
you're
blow.
going to get it. Michael D, you're going to get the D.
Oh,
All right. So this is the last film on the set. And I have
This
something
is
to tell you about it as soon as we get to it. But
okay. This is a classic slasher collection.
it's the second to last one because the last one I've already watched, so we can't watch
Oh,
it.
wait. We already watched this, or you already
No,
watched
I've
it?
already watched it, so we can't do that.
The Hatchet Murders?
Yep. Also known as Deep Red from 1975.
Did we watch this one?
We have not. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, did we watch this? And I looked it up. I'm like, heck no, we didn't watch this. Because it is a Giallo film from 1975.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you specifics on it yet because you'll have to wait for next week to find out exactly why I'm excited. But I will say this much. This is the highest rated movie we have ever watched on this show. And maybe one of the highest rated movies we've seen in a while. I won't say there's a couple movies that are above it, but not a lot. It's pretty highly regarded. So,
Do you want me to read the synopsis?
yes, please.
It's short. After witnessing a brutal murder by an unknown assailant, a musician is pursued by the maniacal psycho hellbent on protecting a deep, dark secret, also known as Deep Red.
Yep. And Deep Red is kind of what more of you will know it as. The Hatchet Murders is the American title that they gave it. Some places I read said it was a truncated version for the American audiences, but other sites said it was not. So I'm going to go with that it was not. But most people know it as Deep Red. And if you are a fan of the genre of Giallo, specifically Italian horror films, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I know that movie. I've seen it 100
Yeah,
times.
you'll definitely know the director.
Yeah, the director is very famous in the Italian horror film community. And
Hinty.
I've been curious about this one for a while, so I was kind of excited to see it on there. And the more I dug into it, I'm like, this is going to be a nice little change of pace.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
real nice, Clark.
All right. Well, I think that's it for our show. Again, if you want to find us, you can find us at thenewlydeads.com for all of your Newly Deads needs. And you can also contact us if you've got comments or things you just want to talk about. You can contact us at contact@thenewlydeads.com. So always, I thought you were doing the little gun thing.
Oh, no, I'm going to put it up here. No, I'm not. Inside joke. Sorry.
So as always, thank you very much for watching, and until next week,
Keep it cheap and creepy.
bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I want to get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
Exorcism is alive and well. The Bible is filled with demons. If you believe in God, you have to believe in the devil. We're looking for the Sweetser farm.
You want to make a U-turn, and then I want you to go back where you came from.
Jeez, go!
Seems like the end of the road. Mr. Sweetser, how you doing? Cotton Marcus.
My wife died 2 years ago. It was quite a shock for Nell.
Were you very close?
She was my best friend.
Somehow, the devil kind of entered.
Nell, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good, nothing to be nervous about.
What is it? It's coming through my skin. Please help. Get it out of me.
Let him come now. Where's Nell?
In the fire.
Here, kitty.
Nell? Oh my God. Turn off that light. Let's get out of here.
If you can't save my daughter's soul, I will.
Leave this girl. If I deceive your Lord, you may be down while in the devil. In the name of Jesus Christ, I command thee to be gone!